Hellcat.
Good afternoon, people. We are back, and today we've got a special review of my Sega Mega Drive Flashback HD console that I treated myself to off Amazon with a voucher I was given by Vodafone for joining them. £50 voucher. This was £45 from an independent seller. The usual price is $79.99. So basically, today's video we're going to take a look at it and see how good it is and whether it's worth investing $79.99 of your own money in.
So, opening up our Mega Drive, this is how it's packed. We have the console here, the two controllers at the back. We have the power supply and the HDMI cable. So, standard HDMI cable. The power supply, I noticed, was a Euro one. So yeah, you will need some kind of, I used my shaving adapter to be able to try it out. You need one of those to be able to use it. I was a bit surprised when it came with that. The control pads are reasonable in quality. They're probably not as good a quality as a normal Mega Drive pad, but they're actually quite, they are pretty good for the Atgames controllers. I think they're better than previous iterations they've used, and these ones are wireless again. The previous Atgames console came with wired pads, and the one before that came with wireless, but those wireless pads were terrible. I have had this up, and these wireless pads are absolutely fine, just as responsive really as a PlayStation or Xbox wireless pad in my opinion. And you get two of those, and then obviously you get your Mega Drive console. It does actually look like, to some degree anyway, an original Mega Drive now, whereas previous ones haven't. This does look like a Mega Drive. On the downside, it feels very, very light, cheap, and pretty tacky. If I drop this, I'm pretty sure it would break. On the back, you've just got your power connector and your HDMI connector, nothing else. I have seen reviews of these before as well, and some of them seem to have an SD card slot on the side. Now mine clearly does not have an SD card slot on either side, on the front, on the bottom anywhere, or on the back. So I've not seen a different version advertised, but there clearly must be two different versions of these Mega Drive consoles available, because this one does not have a SD card slot on the side to put your own ROMs on there, which was quite strange. That was one of the reasons why I bought it, to be honest, based on a review I saw. And you get your instruction manual. It's very easy to set up. Obviously your HDMI cable into the TV, your power supply, and away you go. So, well, the most important thing is, what are the games like and how do they run? So let's get on and have a look. Okay, so when you boot the Atgames system up, you're met with the menu where you can load your cartridge game. You can look at your recent games, Sega games, Mortal Kombat games are categorized as well, Sonic games are categorized, and bonus games are categorized. You scroll down the side menu with the C button and scroll back up with the B button, and you use the D-pad to scroll across all of the games that are available to play. Now when you load it up, you'll count them probably and realize there's only actually 45 Mega Drive games on here. That's because 14 of the games are Master System games, 7 of the games are Game Gear games, and there are 19 games down the bottom which I classified as junk, because they're basically just games that have been copied or cloned in a really bad way. Or they're just completely just fake games made up. And yeah, they're pretty terrible. So I thought we'd try Sonic 2 to show you what that runs like. Obviously it's a well-known game, most people have played Sonic 2 in their lives, so you can actually have a fair comparison of what it runs like on here as to what it runs like on a real Mega Drive. Loading it, if you go on the menu, you can choose scanline filter on, or if you press the down button like I just did, it quits the game and takes you back to the menu. You will also notice that some of the Sonic games in particular have some odd sound glitches. Obviously the Sega logo didn't just play the sound then, and sometimes when you play the actual game, the music slows down for no reason. You'll notice it at the start of the level, and then usually it can be when you end the level or sometimes if you get an extra life and it plays the sound for that, it does slow down. But in terms of the game genuinely seems to play fine to me, and everything runs how I remember it running when I had Sonic 2 to start with. So I didn't really see any problems with the way that the games actually ran. The special stages as well ran perfectly fine, didn't have any problems with them, and
certainly I remember it anyway,
pretty much functioned exactly how I remember them doing on the Mega Drive. So generally the game runs fine, with the exception of the sound issues here and there.
Doesn't seem to have any problems from what I've noticed anyway, going through the quick playthrough that I've tried. So whenever you want to go back to the main menu to change your game, you need to just press the menu button on the control pad followed by down, and that takes you back to the main menu, and then you press B to go back again, and then you can scroll back up and down with B or C. So I thought I'd show some Mortal Kombat 2 next. Improved on Mortal Kombat 1 probably in just about every single way. In this game I've played it briefly before, and I've not actually noticed any glitches or problems with any of the 3 Mortal Kombat games. I really only found the sound issues to be with the Sonic games. Personally, I've watched some other videos and people have reviewed it and said that, you know, it's not very good at all, the console, but actually it is in general. I think the games do run pretty well. So I thought we'd try a bit of Liu Kang, see if I can remember some of his moves. I was never a big Mortal Kombat player, probably more of a Street Fighter player, which is a disappointing thing about the console, because there are no versions of Street Fighter on the game, which is a little bit disappointing. But the Mortal Kombat games are still quite enjoyable.
Finish him.
So I haven't actually cut out any of the loading times, because I thought that would be a true reflection then to show you the console and how quick the games load, and they do generally load just yeah, exactly like you would expect them to load, which is obviously good, and that's obviously what you want.
Fight. Finish him.
So I thought we'd show you a Master System game next, an absolute classic in Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Now when I loaded this up straight away, I noticed the game was faster, the music was faster, and I was like, what's going on? And I don't think it's an actual glitch. I think it's because it's the American version running at 60 Hertz instead of 50, what it would have ran like in PAL. So when I originally played it on my Master System all those years ago, I think that's the reason why it's fast. Now personally, playing this game at this sort of faster speed with the music being faster and stuff, I don't actually think it's as good. It's just more suited to be played at 50 hertz, if that is the reason it's so fast. I just feel you have a bit more control, and it's just generally more well suited to being played slightly slower. Now, it doesn't mean the game's unplayable, because I think obviously given a few efforts I'd probably get used to it being slightly quicker and end up being pretty good at it still, and the same, because I'm sure it's probably the case on some of the other games here. I think the other Master System game I played, the Ninja, it also has the music certainly felt sped up to what I was used to, but again, you get used to it, I think, and obviously in America and stuff it's 60 hertz anyway, so that's the standard, just what they're used to anyway. So here's some Shinobi 3. Now, I've never actually played this game before, so I can't really compare to what it played like originally, and that's why I was looking what the controls were, basically. But to me, it runs fine, it runs well. I would imagine it runs exactly like it does on the cartridge, if I'm honest. Looks good, doesn't seem to have any glitches or sound problems or anything like that. So, certainly from the outlook, this game looks exactly how it should do in my eyes. So yeah, thumbs up for this game. Yes, I'm sure people want to know what some of these games look like, so well, let's show you. Here's Air Hockey by DevWorks, big well-known company. Obviously they've made such hit games like this. Yeah, so let's give it a bash. Exactly. Yeah, so if this game could provide you with more than 10 seconds of amusement, I would be very impressed, because it's diabolical. You don't actually even score a point by getting it in the middle of the goal. You have to get it either side in those black bits. So I've never played an air hockey like that, but obviously whoever created this game had. So yeah, I can't really say I'll be playing that game much more. But you know, I thought we'd try another one, to, just in case some of them are actually good. So I thought we'd try Naval Power. This is also made by DevWorks. You see, they do make obviously numerous games, all of similarly dreadful quality. It's a game of battleships, but it was horrific. I was, clicking on the things, trying to sink ships. My ships were all getting sank repeatedly. I was clicking on them thinking, yeah, and then I wasn't really sure what I was thinking. Then I was clicking on some, and obviously I was hitting them, but I wasn't 100% sure that the ship was sunk. And then, yeah, after about a minute of playing this game, I realised that it was garbage and quit. So I thought the best thing to do would actually be then to show you what a Game Gear game actually plays like on this. Because I've shown you Mega Drive games, I've shown you Master System games, I've shown you the fake games, and the Game Gear games load up in a big, replicating a Game Gear, I suppose, with this boxed screen, which is pretty disappointing. For some reason, I don't know why they did this, because Sonic Chaos was on the Master System, and so they could have put that version on there, but instead they put down the Game Gear version, and so it's a little bit, yeah, I don't like playing games like that on the small screen. It does play fine, and the music seems fine on this. It doesn't have any of the glitches like the Mega Drive Sonic games do, but am I going to sit there and play a game on the big screen, but it's actually a small screen? Probably not. I didn't really see why the Game Gear games were put on there, to be honest. They'd have been much better off on one of those little Atgames handheld things, if I'm honest. But that being said, the game does run fine. Sonic Chaos is a good game. It is. So you might find some entertainment in that, but if you're like me, you probably won't want to be playing it on the small screen. It's just a bit frustrating. So all in all, there's a fairly good collection of Mega Drive games on here, but I think the biggest problem is the fact that after all this time they're still missing some of the best Mega Drive games. There's no Rock'n'Roll Racing, there's no Outrun, there's no Space Harrier 2, there's no Street Fighter games, there's nothing like ISS Deluxe or any sports games really of any kind. So there's like a big gap. It's sort of all pushed towards like fighting and action and side-scrolling games. But I thought I couldn't end the video without actually showing you a cartridge game loaded. Now I've only actually got one Mega Drive cartridge game, and it actually came in the post today from China, and it's a copy of Duke Nukem 3D on the Mega Drive, which is basically a clone cartridge. It's not actually a real cartridge, but it did. Duke Nukem 3D did actually come out on the Mega Drive. If you didn't know that, it came out in 1998, and I think it was the last Mega Drive release before they released a few games several years after. And actually the cartridge loads fine. So when you put a cartridge in and you load it, it actually I think it downloads the cartridge data to the unit and then emulates it. It doesn't actually just load the cartridge straight. So if you watch the screen, it loads the whole 8 megabyte cartridge and then it loads it up. But the cartridge itself, for saying it's a clone cartridge as well, actually ran fine, and it loaded up and I was able to play it on there with no problems. Obviously I don't have any other Mega Drive cartridge games to compare it with, but if a clone fake game works, and I'm pretty sure most of the other ones do. Now I do know that special cartridges like the Micro Machines one with the cartridge slots and the controller slots in the top do not work, and I think Virtua Racing with its like 3D graphics chip inside it, whatever it's called, that doesn't work as well. But I'm pretty sure like 99% of Mega Drive games do work, and you can see Duke Nukem does actually run. Now I will be doing a video soon on Duke Nukem 3D and what it's actually like to play on the Mega Drive, so hopefully that will be something to look forward to. Maybe I'm not going to give away what the game is like, but yeah, you can look forward to that video in the near future.
So there we have it. That was the Atgames Mega Drive HD. Hopefully it's been useful. Maybe it's even persuaded you to spend £80 on buying one, maybe not. But anyway, feel free to comment, ask me any questions. If you subscribe to the channel, that would be great. We're going to try and get further and further in terms of subs, and I've got my Conquest video to come when I get my magazines. I'm currently about 8 or 9 days late they are. It'll be 2 weeks this Friday actually since I'm supposed to have had them, so I'm pretty disappointed about that, but that video will be coming soon. And just in case you didn't think it was real, here is Duke Nukem 3D on the Mega Drive. Yes, it is a real cartridge, it does exist, look it up, it really did come out. Anyway, thanks for watching today's video, and I shall see you next time.
Like a Hellcat.